Steve from 2X Credit here once again to answer your questions about all things business credit. So today's question comes from Ali, who's here in LA, and he wants to know some of the main advantages to actually getting business credit in the first place. No problem, Ali. So put your seatbelt on because I'm going to be dropping a ton of bombs here, so listen very, very carefully. Now, you've probably heard of business credit, right? But you might not know why it's important and how it can really benefit you and your company. After all, you've already got personal credit, right? So why does business credit matter? And indeed, what are some of the advantages? But first, quick recap for latecomers. Business credit is defined as credit that is in a business name only that is linked to that business's EIN, the Employee Identification Number. In other words, credit for your business that is not linked to you personally or your personal social security number. And if you happen to be using business credit, what you can get from it is vendor credit cards, high limit accounts with major retailers, fleet credit, as well as cash credit for your business that also includes Visa and MasterCard. So essentially, business credit is the way to measure a business's ability to pay all its bills on time and not the owner's ability to pay. Important difference. And by the way, this happens to be true even if the owner is a sole employee of the business. Now, there are many good reasons to have business credit, which is entirely separate from personal credit, and I'm going to go through some of the main ones, so buckle up and get ready. So, the first advantage to business credit is you can have lousy personal credit and still get business credit for your company. And if you build your business credit the correct way, you won't even need to supply your social security number on some of the applications. In some cases, there isn't even a personal credit pull. So for this reason, you can obtain high limit business credit accounts regardless of your personal credit, no matter how bad your personal credit may be. Next advantage. Applying for business credit will not affect your personal credit. Why? Well, every time your personal credit is pulled by a vendor, it temporarily lowers your personal score. And worse still, if you have a few inquiries in a short space of time, say 2 or 3 within a 6-month time frame, you'll probably find that most lenders don't want to give you any credit whatsoever. And this is mainly because they don't know how much credit you've already had extended to you by other companies. And remember this, 10% of your overall personal credit is just based on those inquiries alone. Now, of course, it's the creditor's job to make sure that they only extend credit to people and to businesses, obviously, that can afford to pay them back. So a lot of inquiries means that you've made a lot of applications for new credit, and of course, that will set off alarm bells in a creditor's mind. Why? Because they're wondering if you can responsibly manage so much new credit. Well, with business credit, any credit inquiries on your business credit file do not, I repeat, do not affect your personal credit file, because guess what? You're using the business's EIN instead of your social security number. And because of that, your personal credit score will remain intact as you start to build strong business credit. Now, you may ask, are business lenders bothered about how many inquiries you've made through your personal credit? And that's a good question. So, business lenders will not even bother lending to your company if they do find 2 or 3 more inquiries on your personal credit, as I said, within the previous 6 months. Now, what if you wanted unsecured business lending for your company? In other words, lending that's not backed by an amount of money, but instead buy collateral. And that, by the way, can be a great way to get a lot of business credit in an extremely short period of time. You are going to jeopardize that effort, though, if you have too many recent personal credit inquiries on your credit report. And it's not just about the inquiries, because utilization is an even bigger deal in the personal credit world. A good 30% of your personal credit scores are based upon your credit utilization, which is really just a simple ratio of the credit you use divided by your total available credit. And this ratio is calculated for your overall credit and also per credit card. So let's say you've got a Visa with $3,000 in total credit available, and you go out and you spend $1,500 of that $3,000, then your credit utilization rate is 50%. Creditors definitely prefer your credit utilization rate to be at 30% or less. So what are you going to do, particularly when you need that $2,000 piece of heavy equipment for your business? And this is where business credit comes into play. The advantage of having business credit is that if all your purchases come from using business credit, it will not affect your personal credit utilization rate one iota, and therefore not causing any harm to your personal credit score whatsoever. Now, another great benefit of obtaining business credit is the amounts that business lenders give you tend to be as much as, wait for this, 10 times higher than what you can get in personal credit. So lenders, vendors, and creditors are well aware that your business will probably need some expensive equipment, such as everything from, say, a fleet of trucks to some expensive high-end equipment. So as a result, when business credit is extended, it's often far more than what you would normally get when you're applying for business credit. And that in itself is a great reason to get business credit. But did you also know that business credit can help extend your funds when you can't get a business loan? Startups in particular tend to be on the bank's do not loan list. Why? Because they're seen as bad credit risks. But with business credit, you can bypass the banks entirely and instead lean on business credit cards and extended credit that won't come from a regular bank. So the question obviously is, why apply for a bank loan for a startup when your business is only going to be turned down anyway? And by the way, a huge 89% of startup applications are turned down flat, especially when the odds are just not that good. So even a brand new startup can benefit generously by getting business credit. And just in case you didn't already know this, business credit isn't just credit cards and loans, it can also be vendor credit. Vendor credit, by the way, which is also known as trade credit, is when you get extra time to pay for goods and services from vendors that you use all the time and for products and services that you regularly get. So that's a big benefit. Next up, good business credit will certainly help you get certain unsecured credit cards. Unsecured credit cards tend to have approval amounts of $10,000 to $50,000, equal to your current credit limits. And by the way, they also report to all the business credit reporting agencies such as Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet. That way, it can only take a quick 6 months to build your business credit profile, and your personal credit is not used for pre-qualification. And with the cards, by the way, you can get anywhere from 0 to 25% APR, anywhere from 6 to 18 months. Another benefit I talk about in this video, or these videos, is that retail business credit leads directly to fleet credit, then onto bank credit cards for your small business. Once you've made 10 payments on your retail business credit card, you automatically graduate to fleet credit and therefore onto cash credit. Now, fleet credit is credit for repairing and maintaining your company vehicles. Cash credit may be Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express, with limits of excuse me, anywhere from 5 to 10,000, and it usually takes 4 to 6 months to reach this level, building business credit. And the final, most important reason, business credit will fund your business when you don't have any alternatives. So business credit is the only way you can get money for a business if you don't have cash flow, good personal credit, or a guarantor. So my question is, what are you waiting for? If you own a company and you've not looked into business credit yet, well, guess what? It's time to 2x your credit. Thank you. Take care.